LaMelo Ball continues to do some of the most ridiculous stuff that you'll see a player do on a nightly basis. Like this shot against Detroit, for example, with less than 7 seconds left on the shot clock, and he's being tightly guarded out to the half-court line, and despite taking the last second shot off of 1 foot off balance, he makes it. Or here where he catches Andre Jackson Jr. cheating just a little bit to his right, so he takes off towards the basket, and even when the help defense comes, he uses his crafty finishing ability to evade the contest and finish it cleanly. Tune into any Hornets game this year, and there's no doubt that you're going to see him doing stuff that will either leave you shaking your head in frustration when he misses, or shaking your head in amazement when he's hitting these nonsensical shots that he's becoming known for. But make no mistake, when you're playing like LaMelo Ball has been playing this year, you live with the lowlights, because this is by far the best version of LaMelo Ball that we've ever seen. On a macro level, LaMelo's efficiency is the highest it's ever been, and he's scoring at the highest level that he's ever been scoring. And there's one specific aspect of his game that's improved that's allowed his efficiency to reach this career high. You see, LaMelo has never been an efficient finisher. He's finishing at the rim this season at a 56% clip, which, even though it's tied for the highest rim field goal percentage of his career, it still only ranks in the 32nd percentile amongst point guards in the NBA this season, according to cleaningtheglass.com. But even with this relative lack of efficiency at the rim, he's been able to make up for it by becoming one of the most efficient scorers from floater range in the entire NBA. He doesn't deal particularly well with finishing through contact, even though he's been drawing fouls at the highest rate of his career this season, so this floater was going to be a huge differentiator for what he's able to do as an inside the arc scorer. He can't be totally reliant on his jump shot, so now that he has access to this floater, he's making teams be a lot more conscious about defending him when he gets into the paint. And even though his scoring at the rim hasn't been the most effective this year in terms of just overall efficiency, I still think he's improved a ton as a finisher, and I think as the season goes on, health permitting, that overall rim efficiency is going to continue to rise. But among point guards that have attempted at least 40 floaters this season, LaMelo is hitting them at the 3rd highest rate in the NBA. But the main draw with LaMelo Ball is going to be his shot creation ability as a jump shooter. He has been an elite pull-up three-point shooter, and he's one of only 2 players in the league hitting them at an above 38% clip on more than 6 attempts a night so far, alongside Anthony Edwards. If you're not quick to jump out to him when he's getting a ball screen, he's going to take that little bit of space to fire off a shot. The second that he sees that screener defender not out to the 3-point line, he smells blood in the water and knows that's a shot he can hit at a high rate. And then there's shots that he hits where it just doesn't even matter. You have to defend him well enough to not take the shot in the first place, because even with defenders close enough to him, a lot of these are rhythm jumpers for LaMelo that we've seen him take and make since he was in high school. This means that his confidence on these shots is absurdly high. LaMelo could miss 10 threes in the first half of a game and it wouldn't matter to him. He's going to keep shooting in the second half regardless. And don't get me wrong, that might be a problem if his efficiency never improved over the course of a game, but so far this season, LaMelo actually gets better as the game goes on. If we look at his shooting splits by quarter, he's becoming more efficient with each passing quarter, to the point that by the time the 4th quarter rolls around, he's been absolutely dialed in scoring with genuinely elite efficiency. Now, obviously, you'd love for him to be scoring efficiently throughout an entire game instead of just the second halves of games, but he is the very definition of getting hot so far this year. This scoring ability ascending to a new height means that he's been facing more defensive attention than he ever has before, and with that comes even more opportunities to create for his teammates. One of the most fun parts of LaMelo's game is that he's really good at manipulating defenses to get them into focusing too much on him so that he can create something easy for somebody else on the floor. He gets Kornet in drop, and he's going to continue to develop the advantage and pull both Kornet and White deeper towards the baseline, flattening out the defense down low, and this creates a wide open 3 up top for Josh Green when LaMelo connects with him after manipulating the defense. The aggressiveness as a driver is important because it allows him to be a more high volume drive and kick guy, something that frequently generates some of the easiest high percentage offense that you can get as a team. Dame is going to jump out at him coming off this screen, and LaMelo makes a nasty move to split the defense and get into the middle of the floor, forcing Lopez to have to step up on him. And he's going to bait Lopez until the last second before dumping it off to Taj Gibson so he can finish it off. This is going to be a touch zoom action, and Bitadze is going to overplay LaMelo coming off the screen to prevent the right side drive. And LaMelo manages to shift the ball to his other hand so that he can go up the middle, prompting both corner defenders to collapse on him, leaving an open Seth Curry in the corner, and LaMelo rifles it to him for 3. His overall playmaking package is just absurd because he obviously generates a lot of easy stuff off of just simply driving, collapsing the defense, and kicking it out to shooters, but he also has incredible floor vision and the ability to pick a defense apart. When he has the ball here, he's got the eyeballs of 3 different Toronto defenders at the same time. This means that they're not able to notice the off-ball action going on behind them, and LaMelo rifles the pass for the 2 points. He has Mitchell and Mobo staying with him in the pick and roll, so he's going to drop it right over the top to Richards on the roll, and this is going to necessitate the tag from Barrett, leaving Josh Green wide open in the corner for the easy look. When he drives on Agbaji, at first glance, it looks like it's just a regular skip pass to the weak side corner, but I need you all to understand how difficult what he did actually is. He gathers the ball here and with one hand the entire time manages to sling it to the corner without letting the defense get a hold of it. This is a pass that has an unreal level of difficulty, and LaMelo makes it look easy. Here we see some off-ball playmaking from him, setting the screen and then popping, and notice that Bam is going to be the closest defender, so he has to make the rotation. But Richards makes this cut to the basket in open space, and since Bam isn't there to provide help, all LaMelo has to do is throw it up there, and Richards takes care of the rest. Now, where people start to lose interest with LaMelo Ball is when you start getting into his defense, but let me make an argument here. While LaMelo himself is probably not going to be making any all-defensive teams anytime soon, I think he's perfectly capable of playing a defensive playmaker role, operating in passing lanes to nab steals and disrupt the ball, and as long as you have an interior presence available to clean up for him when he's operating as more of a defensive gambler, then he's not going to tank your defense. We can see this when we look at the Hornets defense this year when LaMelo is sharing the floor with Moussa Diabate, who has had to take on a significant role with Charlotte since Mark Williams is still out with an injury and Nick Richards has had to miss some time. When Moussa Diabate and LaMelo Ball are on the floor together, the Hornets are only allowing 109.5 points per 100 possessions, and that's a number that's perfectly respectable. What this tells me is that LaMelo, while not an elite defender and closer to neutral than he is to being good defensively, is not a player that's going to crater your defense when he's on the floor. And a lot of the Hornets' overall defensive issues this season aren't strictly because of LaMelo's shortcomings. Once they have a full toolbox of centers to work with, their defense is likely going to come up to a more respectable level overall when they're able to have a defensive center on the floor for a full 48 minutes. LaMelo is a player that's going to garner a lot of wildly different opinions. Some people think that he's all style with no substance, but this year, I just don't think that that's the case. You just can't negate the impact that LaMelo Ball has on the Hornets offense. You might look at the fact that the Hornets have a negative net rating with him on the floor, coming in at an underwhelming negative 1.1, and convince yourself that he doesn't impact his team's success, but you'd only be looking at half the picture. Because when LaMelo is off the floor, the Hornets are clocking an embarrassingly bad negative 15.6 net rating. Offensively, there's just way too much that LaMelo Ball brings to the table for this Hornets team. And to say that he doesn't impact winning just isn't true. The big question for him comes down to health. We know what he can do when he's fully healthy. He's got a better team around him now than he did back in 2022 when the Hornets were a play-in team. And now that he's putting it all together in this Eastern Conference that seems kind of wide open in that 6 to 10 seed range, with him playing like this, I think the Hornets have a shot to work their way into a playoff spot. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It helps support the channel and allows me to continue making content like this. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.